Okay, get ready, because we are about to unwrap the secret history of your favorite candy. And let me tell you, it is a story that's packed with bizarre inventors, some truly life-saving accidents, and just hilarious coincidences. The truth behind that chocolate bar is so much stranger than you think.
I mean, seriously? That sounds like the beginning of a bad joke, right? The one person whose entire job is to fight cavities invents a literal cloud of pure sugar. But what if I told you that's not a joke? It's completely true. You see, as it turns out, the history of our favorite sweets is just filled with these characters and inspirations that, a lot of the time, have absolutely nothing to do with candy at all.
You really can't make this up. Back in 1897, a dentist, a guy named William Morrison, he partners up with a candy maker, John C. Wharton. And what do? They invent a machine that spins sugar into something they called fairy floss. Yep, what we now call cotton candy. The one treat every dentist warns you about was co-invented by a dentist. The irony is just delicious.
And the weirdness definitely doesn't stop there. You know the world-famous Snickers bar? It wasn't named after a person or a cool place. Nope, it was named after the Mars family's favorite horse back in 1930. And what about candy corn, that Halloween classic? When it first hit the scene in the 1880s, it was sold under the name Chicken Feed to appeal to a mostly rural audience. The box even had a rooster on it. Can you imagine?
But hey, candy isn't always about strange namesakes and happy accidents. Sometimes, believe it or not, it's a brilliant solution to a very, very real problem.
Okay, so take Pez. We all know it as a kid's toy, right? Well, in 1927, it was actually a peppermint mint designed to help adults quit smoking. The name Pez even comes from pfefferminz, which is just the German word for peppermint. Then you've got M&Ms. During World War II, they were invented with that famous hard shell for one simple reason: so soldiers could carry chocolate in hot climates without it turning into a gooey mess. But the most incredible story of candy ingenuity? Oh, that has to be the Tootsie Roll.
So, during the Korean War, U.S. soldiers made this absolutely amazing discovery about a common item in the rations, the Tootsie Roll. They figured out that if you chew the candy, it becomes this pliable, workable putty. And in the freezing cold weather of Korea, that putty would freeze solid.
And they were literally using it as a tool. I'm not kidding. Soldiers were chewing up Tootsie Rolls to patch bullet holes in their vehicle fuel lines and radiators. It was a life-saving fix that could actually get them back to safety. It was like an emergency toolkit right there inside a candy wrapper. Just incredible.
Of course, genius isn't always about solving some grand problem on the battlefield. Sometimes it's just about a lucky mistake or a really, really clever shortcut that just changes everything.
I mean, have you ever stopped to actually think about that? There's no such thing as a bubblegum fruit, right? And it's certainly not pink. So why that specific color? Why is that the standard?
Well, the answer is so simple it's almost funny. Back in 1928, this accountant named Walter Deemer accidentally perfected a new gum recipe. It was way less sticky, much more stretchable. Perfect for bubbles. But the only food coloring they had lying around the factory that day was, you guessed it, pink. And just like that, a happy accident set the color standard for decades.
And speaking of clever shortcuts, how about the Dum Dums mystery flavor? Is it some top secret magical recipe? Nope. It's just a brilliant way to avoid wasting candy. See, instead of cleaning the machines when they switch from making one flavor, like cherry, to the next flavor, like blue raspberry, they just keep the line running. And that batch in the middle, the one that's a mix of both flavors, gets put in a mystery wrapper. It is pure, simple genius.
So, we've seen these oddball inventors, we've seen clever solutions, and we've seen lucky accidents. But the final piece of candy's secret history is just its incredible, mind-boggling longevity. This journey is just staggering to think about. Thousands of years ago, in ancient Egypt, people were making what we would totally recognize as candy. They were mixing honey with figs and nuts, and they'd often use them as offerings to their gods. Now, let's fast forward all the way to 1983. Astronauts on the Space Shuttle Challenger specifically asked for Jelly Belly beans because they were easy to handle in zero gravity. This made them the very first candy to ever fly in space. From a pharaoh's tomb to the final frontier. That's some journey.
It really just goes to show that behind the simplest things, you can find the most extraordinary stories. So the next time you unwrap a piece of candy, just take a second to remember the dentist, the soldiers, and all the happy accidents that had to happen to bring it to you. Makes you wonder, what else is hiding in plain sight?